Journey with Judy.
Honest, open, transparent. It's hot.
There's no such thing as perfect people. There's no such thing as a perfect life. So come as you are, broken and scarred. Lift up your heart and be amazed and be changed by a perfect God.
Oh my gosh, there's such a fine line between the depths of emotions that I feel. I'm like bawling my eyes out in one breath and laughing my head off in the next. Thanks to Dave. Anyway, I cried the whole way here, and Dave said, is this just a regular old Sunday morning where you cry? And I'm like, just a regular old Sunday where I'm overwhelmed with gratitude for what God does, for what he gives, and for what he takes away. So anyway, happy Sunday. Thanks for choosing to journey with Judy, your crying host. Okay. This week, I decided to venture out and try something different. And I think I've told you I hate change. And I decided to try my friend's boot camp. And the reason I decided to try it is it's something I've been contemplating for quite some time. And I always tell him when I get his invitation via email, I'm a definite maybe. Because that's the way I am with everything. But in this case, it was his birthday. My buddy John Palmer, it was his birthday. And so I decided on July 4th to take his class. Now, it was the first time I ever went, so I really didn't know what to expect. I went with some uncertainty, and I was a little unsure. But lo and behold, just because I wasn't sure, I decided to get my real workout in beforehand, just in case it wasn't, what I needed. So anyway, I got there, I rode my bike there, and as I was riding there, I passed so many people. People who were walking, people who were running, people who were jogging. Many people passed me by car. And lo and behold, when I got there, at least 5 of the people that I passed were there. So anyway, the camp started, and one thing about John is he really has a way to motivate people. And this isn't a pitch for John Palmer, but I have to say, he's just really good because he meets you where you're at, and he knows exactly what you need to hear to get you to the next level, which in some cases, for some of us, is just to get there, just to actually show up. His words are super convicting, yet they're super empowering. And over, he said in the class, it's easy to do it the wrong way. It's harder to do it the right way. Many people are doing these exercises the wrong way, and clearly few are doing it the right way. But here's what we all had in common. We had a desire to go there and be successful. The problem is I think once you arrive in a group setting like that, you start to compare what it is really to be successful, because you're looking around the people that are in that class with you, and you're immediately comparing yourself. And John's message has always been, and all the time that I've known him, is you are just there to give your personal best. That's it, and that's all. Clearly, everybody in this class was at different stages of fitness levels. They had different motives, intentions for being there, but really overall, we shared the same common theme of wanting to be successful on this Wednesday morning pursuit of getting healthier and becoming the best version of ourselves. And we know that there's no secret to success. It's just the result of preparation, hard work, and a willingness to do sometimes the next thing that we know is best for us. So when class was over, it didn't matter what you wore or how you got there. So I said to myself, as long as I did my personal best, am I any less or more of a success? Let's talk about that when we get back. You are listening to Journey with Judy right here on Lake 96.1. We'll be back. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to... I love the Mandisa song because it is a good morning. Every day, God's mercies are new, and we get a chance to be, every day, the best version of ourselves. We're talking this morning about what it means to be successful. And if you give more or less, does that make you any more or less of a success. And I think we live in a world that distorts what it is and what it means. What does it look like to be successful? I was talking about this boot camp that I took and how the trainer is so good about just meeting you where you're at and telling you what it is that you need to hear. And all he asks you to do is just compare yourself to you. See, success isn't something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person that you become. And at the end of the day, just like at the end of my class, when it's all over, it won't necessarily matter how you got there as much as that you got there. Because someday we're going to give an account for how we lived, what we said, and what we did. And the only thing that matters is how we have used the gifts and talents that we've been given. Our verse this morning is Psalm 1-4. It says, "How blessed is the man who does not walk with the wicked, does not stand with the sinner, and does not sit with the scoffer." It's a 3-step process. Don't walk with them, don't stand with them, and don't sit with them. When someone is walking in their faith and they're walking obediently to what it is that is the best version of themselves, they are bound to be successful. And success by definition says the accomplishment of an aim or purpose, the achievement of something that is desired, planned, or attempted. And I like that because it starts with desire. It's got to be planned, and we got to try to do it. The first verse says, "Blessed is the man who does not do these things." And these things apply to every single aspect of relationship. The 3 practices that we're being called to: don't walk with the wicked. It's the same thing I say to my kids over and over again. You're judged by the company you keep. The other translation of this says, don't walk in the sin saloon. I love that Message translation of it. It basically says, walk with people who are morally good. Good guidance is godly guidance. I can't tell you how many times my kids say to me, no other parent does what you do. No other parent acts like you act. And you know what? I recently had somebody tell me that their son said to them, "You're a worse parent than Mrs. Hehr." I take that as a total compliment because I'm passionate and I'm purposeful and I am a prayerful parent, wanting more for my kids than to walk with the counsel of the wicked. We live in a world that looks at things from a worldly perspective. I can compare myself to other people and compare to them I'm doing better, but we are not comparing ourselves to the world. We are comparing ourselves to our Creator and who it is that we were created to be. I've heard so many times about teenagers and raising them. They're going to do it anyway, so let them do it. I don't say this with any condemnation, but I refuse to just let them be anything less than who it is they're called to be. And I want them to call me to that. And they do. Don't stand in the path of sinners. All that means in the other translation is, don't stand on a dead-end road. We live in a society where the ceiling has become the floor. We're compromising everything, socially, morally, spiritually. My kid was wearing a shirt the other day that said, "Do hard things." And it was in relation to his football team, I think. But the fact was, I said, yeah, buddy, you got to do hard things. And if at first you don't succeed, you're running about average because it takes 20 years to make an overnight success. And it starts right here, right now. When I was riding my bike the other day, I saw another license plate, and I swear it's God talking to me, and it said, make a diff. Make a diff. What kind of diff are we making? We had a conversation at our house the other day about our kids playing teams that are worse than them. And all 4 of my kids agreed, hands down, that when we play teams that are worse than us, we play worse. But when we play teams that are better, we absolutely step up and play better. And of course, I started to cry and used it as a teaching moment and said, guys, that's true in life. You play worse when you hang around with people who are worse. And you're going to play better when you hang around with people that are better. And P.S., we're all good goats and we're all children of God. But the fact of the matter is we don't act like it sometimes. Present company included. So if we're not walking in the path of sinners and the wicked, we got to trust that in God's time, He's going to advance us to the next step, to the next plan and the next purpose that He has for us. But it's going to be in His time. In the meantime, we do hard things. How about this? Don't sit with the scoffers. I didn't really know what scoffers was, so I had to look it up. I'm not very intelligent. I've told you that. It means the contemptors. It means mockers. Like, don't sit with mockers. Big theme in our house right now is don't bear false witness. If you're looking at contempt, looking at another person with contempt, or you're mocking them, that's bearing false witness. It could potentially ruin somebody's reputation. You are called to bear witness, but not false witness. You're called to bear the truth in a super lost world. And you see, we got to draw the line in the sand as to where we're going to stand, what we're going to stand for, and what we're not going to stand for. And in our house, we're always worrying about everybody else's square. And you know what? We just got to worry about our square. We got to stay there. Because when we turn the lens inward, I got to tell you, there's so much more that we could be working on so we can make a diff, like in the last point. But we say things that we don't mean, and we do things that we wish we didn't, because we're looking at other people with contempt. And we're thinking it's okay to be like them, or it's okay to sit in judgment of them, and it's so not. The man who is successful, he's lived well, he's laughed often, and he's loved much. He's gained the respect of intelligent men and the love of children. He has filled his niche and he has accomplished his task. He leaves the world better than he found it. Whether an improved poppy, a perfect poem, or a rescued soul, this guy who's successful, he never lacks appreciation for the beauty of the earth, and he never fails to express it. He's looking for the best in others, and he's giving the best of himself. That's all these things are saying when they're saying don't walk, don't stand, and don't sit with the wicked, with the sinners, with the mockers. I told you I'm really not a good texter, and I think I've told you I'm pretty blind. Well, the other day I was riding my bike and I was texting. That's really even worse than driving and texting. And anyway, when I reread the message that I sent, it was so not what I meant to say. It so easily could have been misconstrued. Because I put things in there that didn't belong and had no place being there. That's what we do. And when someone else is on the receiving end of that message, it isn't such a godly one. But sometimes it's a funny one. Like Dave enlightened me to a website that actually shows how autocorrect on your phone interprets what it is that it thought you were trying to say. And so in that particular case, that's what we're trying to say here. You got one voice. It's your choice. Make it the truth. And there's 3 Ds that require 1 C. We're going to talk about that when we get back. You are listening to Journey with Judy right here on Lake 96.1. And thank you to the Cunis Country Auto Group for sponsoring our show.
God gave me you for the ups and downs. God gave me you for the days of doubt. And for when I think I lost my way, there are no words here left to say it's true. God gave me you. Gave me you.
You got to dig that Blake Shelton song, because that's a song that he gave to his wife. God gave me you for the ups and downs, for the days of doubt when I think I lost my way. There are no words here left to say. We're talking this morning about what it means to be successful in the eyes of God, not in the eyes of the world. And the message is act as if you know something different, because you do. Act as if you know how the story ends, because you do. And we live in a world that makes it so difficult to do godly things because everyone around us is living in a different way. And Blake Shelton is telling his wife, like, God gave me you to remind me of who it is that I'm supposed to be. Because we're supposed to be leaving people better than we found them. And if we're looking, we don't only get to see that person in our lives, and I know that you all have them if you look for them. But there's times where we actually get to recognize that we are that person to other people. Can you imagine someone standing before you and saying, God gave me you. God gave me you to show me what it means to be a success. Because it's never too late to be what you might have been. And when people are put in our life to show us who it is that we're really supposed to be, we got a way better chance at the end of the day of answering that question when we stand before God and he says, what did you do with what I gave you? I want to be able to say I was acting as if I knew that success isn't only something spectacular, because I've been there and I've done that. But it's something so simple. I think it's so funny that people call me an inspirational speaker. Dave, seriously, like, I don't know, how would you even market me? Is this even remotely inspirational? I'm so not inspirational, but I am so honest, open, and transparent about this message this morning about how important these three things are. Not to walk with people who are morally not doing the right thing. Not to stand with people who are wicked. And not to sit in contempt of others. This threefold message requires just one thing, and that's how we went to the break. The three D's that require one C. The C is just your commitment. Commitment is like a really strong word. We make commitments all the time that we really have no tools to follow through on. We commit to relationships, we commit to jobs, we commit to situations because we really think that we're capable of keeping the commitment. But the fact of the matter is, when we're called to act on it, it's a whole nother thing. And that's why we have to know that we know that we know that if we have the commitment, then we're willing to do whatever it takes. And our 3 D's are D, desire. This is taped all over my boy's bathroom. Never underestimate the power of desire. Because no great things were ever accomplished without it. You gotta want to. This verse goes on to say, the beginning of the verse says what not to do. It's always good to get the do nots out of the way and then clear it up with what you get to do. And what you get to do is you get to, this is verse 2, delight in the law of the Lord. Meditate on his law day and night. Because then you're going to be like a tree firmly planted by streams of water. That verse says so much. If you are doing this, you are going to get that. And you cannot have this without that. It's not that you have to be told to do it. It's that you want to do it. I say that to my kids all the time. At some point, you're going to gotta wanna. And that requires discipline, our second D. Discipline is just practicing the same thing over and over. And in this case, it says meditating day and night on what? On what God says success is, not what the world says. Because there's one definition that I read that says you've reached the pinnacle of success as soon as you become uninterested in money, compliments, or publicity. I didn't know that. Because I lived to be served. I lived for the recognition and the affirmation of other people, and I never lived with a desire to please my Creator. Ever. It wasn't even on my radar. How about number 3, determination? That's just a willingness to do whatever it takes for however long it takes to get what it is that you said you want. I think if you ask people what they wanted for their kids or for the people in their life, I think success would maybe even be a word or a wish. But if you ask them to define that, I'm guessing that it wouldn't be so much about accumulation or financial well-being. I bet it would be success like being able to be in their own skin and being able to use their gifts and talents to leave people better than they found them. So if we're desiring what it is that we say we're desiring, then we got to want to. And if we're going to be disciplined, we're going to know that what we're going to reap as a result of that is going to change our souls and change our lives. And when we're determined, that means we are persevering and that we are patient. And that we're not only going to scratch the surface, but we're going to have a really successful life. As we step into who it is we are, whose it is we are. Because then we're going to reap the rewards of our godly success. Because we're going to have followed his principles in all our affairs. And we're going to be like a tree with strong roots. Because a tree with strong roots, it weathers any storm. You are listening to Journey with Judy right here on Lake 96.1. We'll be back. Thanks for choosing to Journey with Judy this morning. And here's your thought for the week. As long as you did your personal best, are you any less or more a success? It's what you did with what he gave. Your number one goal is your soul to save. So this week, act as if. The best of Life Matters is next with Faith and Nancy. And this week, keep it hot, hot, seriously hot. Honest, open, and transparent. Peace out.